Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Job is Foot podcast, the emergency services the emergency services podcast hosted by me, Jay Darkmore. So, guys, it has been a hell of a year for not just me, but also for the podcast in general, the channel in general. And I just want to extend my thank you to you guys. It's been a hell of a ride. I know I took a couple of weeks off around Christmas time. I know I haven't uploaded an episode for a week or so. I do apologize for that. I do have a family, and unfortunately, sometimes I have to take the foot off the gas a little bit to make sure my partner doesn't leave me and that my son still loves me. So I'm sure that you understand. But I hope you've all had a merry Christmas and a fantastic Christmas at that. This is the New Year wrapped episode. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you a little bit of insight as to how this podcast has been doing over the past few months, because I only launched this podcast really in, I think, July. I uploaded some older videos to the podcast, and then I only really started doing full length episodes, asking for accolades, asking for anecdotes and stories, and getting guests on over the past few months. So this episode is going to be a little bit different to the normal ones, and we're going to get into that in just a second. But I want to take this opportunity just to announce that in the new year, in January, you may have seen I have been posting something called Shift Proof, a Shift Proof support community. What that is, quite simply, is it is a support community dedicated to shift workers, emergency service workers, ambulance, fire, police, you name it. In that, it's not just going to be a case of, oh, this generic workout or this generic thing. Like I've seen those groups and I've been in those groups. And no disrespect to those groups, I just want to do things a little bit differently. There will, of course, be things to do with shifts and diet and exercise, but there will also be a big community element to it too. I will be doing weekly calls in that community where we can discuss and we can talk. You have the opportunity to potentially work with me on a one-to-one basis too. There will also be video courses going up. There is some courses going up already, but there will also be long form video courses related to mental health, related to, like I said, diet and exercise, related to burnout, relating to also business. And if you wanted to leave the job and you wanted to start a business, then basically how I've done, then I'm more than happy to talk you through the basics and to work with you further. Basically, it allows people who are tired of the job to have a bit of an exit plan, a bit of an exit strategy. Now, of course, I'm not advocating for people to leave the service, but I also don't want people to be unhappy and be miserable. So the community is twofold. It's to support people who want to leave, but it also is to support people who want to be in the job and they want the best career possible. And there's a multitude of different ways we can do that. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this now is because the community is currently live, but it's not been officially launched. And before I do a big official launch, probably middle of January, I've scheduled some emails to go out with a big heavy discount for those who are on the email newsletter already. You can sign up to the email newsletter quite simply. All you do is you click the link in the description of this video and you can download something called a shift survival guide. It's a short ebook which I've written and it's completely free. And in that, it's packed with information of the officers and the people who have downloaded it already have said it's really good and it's helped them quite a lot and give them a lot of useful practical advice. So download that, join the email list, join the email community, and be sure to be on it by the time that email goes out in the first few days of January. So that to one side, and I'm really looking forward to this community growing, and I'm looking forward to seeing you over there as well. And I might even do exclusive podcast episodes in there just for the members. But anyway, you didn't hear that from me. So, where are we up to when it comes to this fucking podcast, guys? First, I'd just like to say it's been amazing. I've really enjoyed this. I spin so many plates with what I do. And this podcast has been a real good way to give back because the messages I get from you, the stories, the thanks, it's brilliant. When people message me and they say, I had a really shitty day the other day, listen to your podcast, making me feel that I'm not alone. And also people from around the world. I had no idea that this project, this podcast, in just such an early amount of time it's been going would reach so many different people. It's insane. It's so cool. And I went on my Spotify, I went on my Apple Podcasts, and I also went on my YouTube, and I combined all the different numbers just to get a full reflection of the scale of this podcast and how fast it's grown and how big it's grown in just a short space of time. And remember, this podcast is only possible with you sending in your stories, you sending in your experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And what we're going to do is in this podcast, I've actually picked some of my favorite stories and my favorite, most impactful things what people have sent through. So this is like a master show of what has been going on over the past few months and the things people have sent in. So combined streams of this podcast, 80,000 across these three platforms. That's a combined listening time of over 450,000 minutes, which equates to about 7,500 hours, which is about 312 days, which is just over 10 months. So that's 10 months of my beautiful voice, and along with some fantastic guests what I've had, playing consistently for just over 10 months. That's incredible. That is incredible. And again, I just want to say thank you so much for your support with that. Because, like I said, without you, this does not work. This also a combined audience of about 1,800 people. So some people subscribe on YouTube, some people follow on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. So 1,800 people. That's amazing. This podcast is in the top 10% of video podcasts on Spotify. Amazingly, it's streamed in over 34 countries, with the biggest audiences being in the UK, Ireland, Australia, USA, and UAE. The UAE was an interesting one. So, all you people in the UAE, thank you so much for tuning in. This is fucking intercontinental. This global, this podcast. My voice is traveling the airways. Your stories are traveling the airways. Your stories are reaching people from all four corners of the earth. USA, again, guys, thank you so much. Australia, you guys, I was speaking to an Australian officer the other day, actually. I asked about Christmas time, and he said, well, you know, I was on the beach all day. It's like, oh, wonderful. It's cold as shit here. Australia and Ireland. Ireland. I've been to Ireland quite a few times. Wonderful, wonderful people. And of course, you wonderful people in the UK. Honestly, it warms my heart. Like I had a look at these today, and I don't know. Like I said, I would say I got a little bit emotional. Got a little bit emotional. Just I left the job and I wanted to talk about my experiences. But then I thought, well, it's not just about me. Yes, I wrote the book, and yes, I went on a few podcasts as well to talk about the issues in the service. But hearing your stories and you guys having the faith in me to sanitize and to, anonymize and to tell your stories, it not only helps me in this mission of highlighting the hard work what emergency services people do from around the fucking world, from what I'm seeing, it's incredible. But also, I hope it means that you guys don't feel alone in your efforts and you have a shitty day or you go to a bad job or you have something difficult happen or you have something amazing happen and you want to share it, you do a really good piece of fantastic good work, which we know that you do every single day. So what I'd like to say, guys, is give yourselves a pat on the back. What you do is bloody hard work, absolutely impossible. And so many people out there will criticize, will record and post and comment on social media and everything else. They don't have a fucking clue what you have to do. On it can be just a regular day shift. Doesn't have to be a Friday night or a Saturday night, albeit they are somewhat chaotic. But just on a regular basis, what you do on a regular basis, on a normal fucking Tuesday afternoon, the stuff you got to deal with. So, guys, just absolute hats off to you. For 198 of my listeners, this podcast is their number one most listened to. That's awesome. That's so cool. 198 people, just under 200 people listen to this podcast more than any other podcast on Spotify or yeah. This season, so I'm not really doing seasons, but this season was more popular than 97% of other news shows. That blows my mind. And you know what's interesting? Sometimes you might look at your numbers, you might look at your recent, listens, your downloads, you might think, oh, I'm getting nowhere here. But it just shows that consistency over time and enough effort and enough of a quality, a quality show, which I do hope I bring to you guys. I do hope I bring a good quality show into the mix. That I'm above 97%. I'm in the top 3% of all worldwide shows. It blows my mind that this is actually real, that this is actually happening. And this podcast gets more shares than 98% of other shows. Keep sharing, guys. Keep sharing, keep spreading the message, keep spreading the good work you guys do. It'll hit the right people's ears, it highlights the right people, and hopefully, maybe they'll sit there and go, maybe I should stop being a knobhead and treating the people who are there to protect me like they're expendable, like they don't matter. Maybe that's why. So, guys, wow. Just again, all right, I'll stop. I'll stop uh, going down on you all now. All thousands of you. How many did you say? 1,800 of you so far. I'd have a very, I don't even think Bonnie Blue could manage that amount of people in a day from all over the fucking world. She'd give it a go, though. I mean, yeah, anyway, less said about her, the better. Okay, so we're just going to get straight into it. And we're going to talk about some of the stories I've really enjoyed listening to. This video was sponsored by my best-selling police memoir, The Job's Fuck Secret Diary of a Police Officer. After 10 years in the police service, I finally left and I decided I need to speak out. This book does a deep dive into police corruption, the real reason why the police force is falling apart, and things you will never hear in the mainstream media. You can check it out in the link in the description of this video. You could also grab some merchandise and support me on Patreon. And now, without further ado, enjoy the video. Now, not all of these stories made it in. Some of them I have gone through my notes of past episodes and I thought, I didn't read that one out. I didn't read that one out. And there was one actually. So this is a bit more of a serious one. Before we get into some of the more funny stuff, this is a bit more of a serious one, but we share those things on this podcast. This isn't just a yes, we're all here for a good time, but we also have to appreciate that there is a yin to the yang, there is light and dark, and this is one of the darker accolades. So I'm just going to set my glasses on because I'm actually quite blind without them. And I don't know why I refuse to put them on. Oh, they're all cloudy. Okay, so this one is from an officer. They sent it me through. And I believe it was actually featured on UK Cop Humor. And I'm probably going to do a bit of a longer video on this one too. But it really hits home. This really hits home when I've read it. So yeah, I think a lot of other people will resonate with this quite a lot. So it goes, depression can make you feel like you're useless and worthless, affects your confidence and makes you doubt yourself. This will translate to your work life too generally. We all know mental health in the police is a big issue. Many suffer, although there is still that stigma attached to it. You can see a colleague's broken leg, but you can't always see a colleague with a broken mind. With the stressful role of policing comes self doubt and the self criticism at times. There are so many aspects of this job, we can't be brilliant at them all. We all have our place and skill sets. You know who you want with you at the public order job, or when you're dealing with a delicate emotional victim. Unfortunately, people will criticize you and badmouth you behind your back. It's always been rife in the job and it won't change, sadly. But rise above it and try to stay positive. Don't join in slating your colleagues. Bad feelings lead to negativity. Some will tell you, I wouldn't have dealt with that job like that, but that's just their opinion. It doesn't mean you've done a bad job or have handled it in the wrong way. We go on to say, remember, you've done the job for X amount of years without making any serious mistakes or complaints, and you're still here doing it, even though you may wish that you weren't. Some people are better at talking to people than fighting and confrontation. Some people prefer to use the power of speech rather than the rage of aggression. Some people will deal with the situation completely different to you, but that doesn't make you a bad officer, it just makes you different. You have to be a social worker, teacher, fighter, paramedic, parent, babysitter, and lots of other things beside that. Nobody can be an expert at all of these roles it takes to do the job, and no one is. Even if PC Perfect thinks he is, he's probably more self conscious and self doubting than you think, but hides it well with his false boasts, cocky swagger, and crude knob jokes. We all love a crude knob joke. While PC 101 has to have the loudest voice in the office, but inside probably has the smallest amount of confidence, but her heart's in the right place. Some people leave the job after 6 months, but you're still there working hard and trying. Stand by. Some people leave the job after 6 months, but you're still there working hard, trying to help and make a small difference in someone's life that you can. If we all if we were all the same, then every incident if we were all the same, then every incident would end up with a fight on a Saturday night in town. We need the officer with a calming influence and polite manner sometimes, just as much as we need the officer who loves to have a roll around with a drunk idiot, who won't leave when he's told to. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. Take confidence in what you are, take confidence in what you are good at, and block out negative criticism from fellow colleagues. We all need to work together in these hard times and support each other. Stop the slagging off and bad mouthing after the shifts and colleagues. I know we are all guilty of this at times, and do what you can to help and assist one another. If we are against each other, then what chance do we stand when the media, the public, and the government are constantly criticizing and beating us down? We need to look out for one another and take care of each other. If we don't, who will? That is an incredibly powerful accolade. Very powerful little essay that by the officer, and everything they said is 100% true. We all like to sit there. I've been criticized before. I'm sure you've been criticized. Um, I wouldn't have dealt with that job like that. Why'd you deal with that job like that? I used to get in loads of fucking shit because I used to argue back with my sergeants and be like, I'm not doing it the way you're telling me to because I don't believe it's the right thing. Sometimes I won, quite often I didn't, but I would still have that argument. Or I would go to a job and I would be dealing with it one way, then Officer X walks in and deals with it a completely other way. Sometimes it's been kicking off when I've been there. And then another colleague's walked in, been able to sort it all out. Other times it's been the other way around. Someone's been kicking off and I've walked over and managed to sort it all out. Sometimes it doesn't matter how much you talk to somebody, it's only going one way. They want to fight. Sometimes somebody is having the worst time of their life, and that more confrontational officer is the worst person for them to be around, so that they have to step away. And it's a case of being like saying to a colleague, Listen, you're making it fucking worse here. Step back." Well, because we all want the same outcome, don't we? We all want to resolve the incident peacefully, and we all want to go home at night to our kids. It's it's a very, very tough job. And like the accolade said there, like the anecdote said, you can't be expected to know what to do in every single situation. You have a best guess and you have experience on what you are doing. And I also tell people who speak to me when they say that they're struggling with like imposter syndrome or they're struggling with experience, I always say, you've dealt with 1,000 incidents. This is 1,001. Instead of looking at it thinking this is something new, accept it's different to what you've dealt with before, but use the evidence of everything else you've ever dealt with in order to deal with the problem what you face in front of you. Policing is problem solving. It's plain and simple. You're problem solving with people, and you have the resources, you have the training, you have the colleagues, and there's nothing wrong as well with asking for help. I know there's plenty of people out there who don't like asking for help because they don't want to appear like a burden. I used to really like less experienced officers coming to me and say, "Jay, what would you do here?" Um, or what's your thoughts about this? Or do you think this has got any legs? Or can you come and give me a hand at this job? I'm like, yeah, absolutely fine. I would much rather you ask than not not ask. You know what I mean? And the frustration what we have with other colleagues, that's normal. We just need to wind it in a little bit sometimes. I think because then if somebody feels that everyone's getting on at them, they're not going to learn. They're just going to feel beaten down, and it's just not going to end well. We need to be a unit. We're a blue line family. We wear the blue line badge, even though there are certain people out there who wish we didn't wear that. But frankly, fuck them. we're going to wear it. And I'm a big advocate for it because of what it represents. It represents community, it represents unity, it represents camaraderie, solidarity, and that we are here to protect the public, regardless of whether you've been in for 6 months or 16 years. We are here to look after each other and we run towards the danger. You have to have your colleagues' backs. You have to have that camaraderie. Um, and of course, it's a stark reminder of the dangers what we face in the job, because the Thin Blue Line is also a charity when it comes to supporting fallen colleagues and remembering fallen colleagues who have given their lives in the line of duty. So, and there was also a part at the start there where they said depression it's a hidden, mental health is a huge thing in the services, and you're not weak. You're not fucking hell. You're not weak for thinking. That bothered me that instant. Or I need a minute, or I need a bit of a break, or I'm struggling, and you go and speak to someone and ask someone about it. I've struggled. I still think about certain incidents now. There's certain instances what I've been to before, and maybe they maybe make a TV drama about it, or I'll go past the place and I'll remember where it was. And you think about these things, and they can weigh on you. This is why you have to get them out. So one thing I'm a big advocate of is journaling after a shift, or maybe leaving a voice note to yourself after the shift, because it just helps to purge those thoughts and those feelings of trauma, of maybe you fucked up a little bit, maybe you did something really, really good, or a comment someone made, or just how you're feeling. On your way home, it's good to just debrief yourself, because we debrief each other and we have the job debriefing us. But when do you debrief yourself? And I think it's really important that you do that, because when it comes to trauma, mental health, PTSD, mental health issues, it's a compounding effect. It compounds over time. And if you ignore it, you're not releasing that valve, and the issue will be there. It'll just get to the point where it was with me, where I walked into work one day and I just had a fucking panic attack. I just absolutely broke down, nearly broke down in tears in front of my sergeant. Basically said I wasn't coping, and it got to that limit point really. Um, so after that, I started just taking more care of myself, and you can look after your body, which is great. That will help with your stress levels, going to the gym, doing hard activities, martial arts, running, everything else. But you have to do that self-care with your mental health too, because we have to understand that the role what we do, we are going to see and deal with some shit which most 99% of people in the world won't ever have to deal with. And we have to deal with it quite a lot. So by the very nature of what we do, we have to take those extra precautions and that extra self care when it comes to taking care of our mental health and looking after ourselves. So I thought that was an absolute brilliant anecdote, accolade, hit a lot of nails right on the head. And I think, yeah, you just have to make sure that you're looking after yourselves. If somebody wants help, ask, offer to help. If you feel that you need help, ask for the support. Don't slag off your colleagues, because they're the ones who'll be turning up to you when you press a red button. And the last thing you want is for them to go, "Well, I'm not going helping him. He's been slagging me off for the past 2 weeks." Like, you don't want that. And you'd like to think that those same colleagues, regardless of whatever, they're going, right, my colleague's in trouble. He's a fucking arsehole, but I don't want him to get his head kicked in. We rely on each other because we deal with dangerous people and we deal with dangerous situations all the time. So we rely on each other. We're Blue Line family. We look after each other. We hold each other to account, absolutely. When there's someone doing something wrong, or we think, actually you kind of fucked up a bit there. Like, let's talk about it, and that's fine. It's part of learning. Don't have an ego about it. You're learning the same as someone else is learning. Someone else, like the officer said in that message, may appear very confident and very loud, but confidence is quite quiet. Insecurity is loud. So the biggest, most boisterous person in the room who you think, oh, they've got it all figured out, they probably don't have a fucking clue, same as you, mate. You know what I mean? Um, Even senior officers, supervisors are probably making up as they go along. But that's a whole other thing I'm not going to get into. But yeah, so thank you very much for the officer centre then. So, okay. So a little bit more light-hearted things now. This one in particular, when I fucking wish I wasn't reading this out. Clean my glasses. Very, very see, that's why I don't wear them. That's why I don't wear them, because they get foggy and shit. Fuck it. We'll squint. We'll zoom in and we'll squint. Yeah, so I do apologize for this one. I don't often do trigger warnings. In fact, I never do trigger warnings. This isn't so much of a trigger warning, but just you were warned. So here we go. Hi Jay, hope you're all well, mate. Funny story I remember the other day from when in the job. Feel free to use it if it is of interest, and trust me, it was of interest. I was on the early turn when a concern for welfare job came in. It was just after 6 a.m. when me and my colleague were asked to attend the house of an elderly lady who had pressed her panic pendants, the alarms that elderly people wear around their neck. No other information other than we had an alert that the alarm had been activated. We attended the address and knocked and called through the letterbox but got no response. There was a safe key. There was a key safe outside the door, so we called up over the radio and managed to get the code from the safe control room. For the safe for the control room. We entered and called out as you do. Hello, it's the police. Hello. Oh God, it reminds me so many times that. As we entered each room looking for the lady, we found her upstairs in bed. Hello, are you okay? You activated your help pendant. The lady looked at us. Yes, I need the toilet, she replied. I glanced to the left of the bed and saw a commode. You know where this is fucking going now. The lady was not very mobile and needed help to use the commode, hence the reason she activated her alarm. Myself and my colleague got either side of the lady and gently lifted her off the bed and onto the commode. See, this is the thing they don't tell you about when you first start in a job, is it? This is the thing you don't tell you about. She sat there and we stood there waiting for her to go to the toilet. For some reason, I assumed she was going to go for a wee. However, apologies for this next bit. However, no sound of a gentle trickle of water was forthcoming. What did come was the foulest stench known to man, the sort of eye watering smell that stings your eyes and makes your throat close up. Both shocked and not assuming she was going to do a poo, we, we fucking hell. Both shocked and not assuming she was about to do a poo, we both stood there feeling uncomfortable and a bit embarrassed. After a minute or so, she uttered the words we had feared might be coming. Can you clean me, please? I had about a year in service at this point. The colleague I was with had about 5 years in. He looked at me, glanced at his shoulder number, which was considerably higher than mine, and said, I'm pulling the senior PC card. You lift, I'll wipe. Fucking hell. I fucking love that one. Oh, that's amazing. They don't tell you this when you join. They do not say this when they join. Why out catching burglars? Well, I'm wiping an old lady's bum today. Ah, but hell, I mean that's a fucking social care issue all day, that isn't it? Like, why were the social workers not there? Why were the caring? Why does that fall on the police? But um, I'm very well done to those officers who did that. Very well done to those officers. You helped a dear old lady that day, and I'm sure you put in all the necessary referrals and everything else. And I'll be honest, to that senior officer, if there's a time to ever play the senior officer card, that was it, my friend. So absolutely hats off to you too. You lift our wipe. Fuck me. Right. So it's just been Christmas time, and I put a little something out on my social media, on my Instagram, the Jobs Fucked podcast. Make sure you follow it. And I put, how was Christmas? I got several responses. One said, fucking horrific. Makes sense. I think the officer actually gave me a bit more context to that too. So stand by and let me find out what he fucking said. Uh, yes. So these officers said we work Christmas Eve night, Christmas Day night, and Boxing Day night. That's a triple threat, that in it. That's a busy set of shifts. Boxing Day was three assistant shouts from the same guy all night. Me and my three officers, me and three off, fucking hell, me and three others were with him for 6 hours fighting continuously, and he assaulted four police officers. We are days today and should have been on days tomorrow, New Year's Eve, which would have been great. However, they've changed our duties for the whole team to work nights. So they fucked us over for the whole festive period. That's shit. Because just from I mean, there's a few layers to this. One, it's not very fair you're having to do all of it. I know people say, "Oh, think of the money." I'd rather spend Christmas Day with me family, thanks, and watch my kids open presents and shit like that. Not be too absolutely fucked to do anything. But I mean, I thank you so much for what you do. And I remember saying this like I'm writing the next book at the minute called The System's Fucked, and I wrote a bit about this, saying, who do you think while you're eating your Christmas dinner, who do you think's out there making sure that no one breaks in, or who do you think is out there looking after people? Because Christmas time, as we know, is a very busy time because everyone's pissed. We have all the families together who probably don't like each other. There's arguments over child contact. There's also, because of the time of year it is, people can get very upset and lonely and quite depressed and super fucking tidal. So you've got everything. Everything's just times 10. Everything is times 10 over this period. I've worked nights over the Christmas period before. It can get pretty fucking crazy, pretty savage at times. So yeah, the fact that they made you do that as well, and it's also like just like the well-being of the officers too. Like, um, because normally what would happen in my thing, it would be, so people would work one or the other. Like people would kind of shift swap a little bit and say, I want to go out with my friends. I've not got I've not really got a family. I've not got like kids or anything like that, and I want to go out New Year's Eve with my friends. Generally, like the younger officers, and then the older officers would be like, yeah, sound, I'm not going out New Year's Eve. So then the younger officers would probably work Christmas Day, so that the older officers who did have family and kids and everything else would go and spend Christmas Day with the family, and you just kind of swap the shifts a little bit. But that sucks, mate. I'm proper sorry about that. So they also said it's a highlight as well. This is the fourth year running my team have worked Xmas and New Year. Fourth year. I think I did it twice on the bounce. I think I did it twice before. And we will be working it again next year and the year after as well because of how it falls. We should have had an all right New Year's Eve. Um, with being on days, but they've shafted us then as well. Just feels incredibly unfair with the duty change. I could totally agree. Totally agree. That's bollocks. That. So we used to call it. We had someone called RMU, and you could they basically sorted out the shifts. But no, that's not fair. Um, Stereo, bear with me. We had a new officer on our team that's moved forward. Another guy. One. Okay. Fucking hell. Wow. All right, so a bit of foreshadowing for a future episode. An officer just messaged me to say that they had an officer who moved to another unit or like to another force, and they were that incompetent. This officer used to keep a list of all the incompetent things they'd done, and he said he had over 100. So he's not sent it me now, but a bit of foreshadowing there. So hey, that'll be fun. This one's from someone in the NHS, which of course is lovely. Oh no, hang on, no, this one's not the NHS. This one is someone who works in a prison. So again, I said, "How was Christmas time? All right." And he said, "Had an all available." So I imagine that's like a red button. Had an all available on one of the wings with a lad battered with a pool cue ball and then stabbed with said cue. Other than that, fuck all. This is the crazy thing about prisons. You don't hear about it. It can just go off and you just don't hear about it. And the fact that someone getting beaten with a pool cue and a pool cue on the ball and then stabbed with it is considered, yeah, other than that, nothing. Just shows you the day to day chaos what our prison officers have to face. And people forget about the prison officers. We seem to think that once somebody's locked up and sent to prison, then they kind of don't exist anymore, which makes sense. Out of sight, out of mind. They're done. They're dealt with. But these people still need to be housed. And I have massive respect for anybody in the prison service because it's a job I wouldn't do. Fuck that. I know quite a few my ex-colleagues used to be in the prison service, and it was all like, it's fucked. The prison service is shit, basically. Um, and a lot of prison officers I've spoken to in currently serving or have served have all reiterated that. So this one is from the NHS. I'm quite happy I'm getting more NHS ones through. I quite happy with it. Half the staff called in sick. Great start. Ended up working with the most miserable bank staff 3 nights in a row. But excuse me, 3 nights in a row. But I work with the most amazing people. So those regular staff let standing all fucking hell, sorry. Amazing people, so those regular staff left standing all brought in Christmas Eve goodie bags for everyone, and we had a Chinese to make us feel better. Definitely could have been worse. Managed to get New Year's off, and I'm going away this afternoon for a couple of nights. Well, you know what? You've earned it. You've earned the rest. So absolute fair play to you. I wonder what you had from the Chinese. I'm a bit of a basic bitch when it comes to Chinese. I'm sweet and sour chicken and I might have Chinese tonight actually. Ooh, maybe well. Sweet and sour chicken and salt and pepper chips. Mwah, absolutely beautiful. Maybe some spare ribs as well on the side. Has anyone noticed? Side note, has anyone noticed? Just takeaways are going mega expensive now. I went to McDonald's the other day, me, my girlfriend, and my son, and it cost us like 30 quid for a Mackey's. Fucking hell, what's going on? Ridiculous. Thatcher's Britain, as as Max and Paddy would say. If you know, you know. Show me age now. Max and Paddy was funny for about 2 episodes, and then it just wasn't. Other than the prison episode, that was really funny, but, yeah, everything else in between wasn't the best. Phoenix Nights were quite good. Anyway, okay. So I had a I remember telling this one, and it was funny then, it's fucking funny now. Had a fella arrive in A&E with a carving fork through his hand and his wife in handcuffs. Turns out she did know about the mistress after all. You dirty dog. Dirty dog. Don't be putting it elsewhere. Don't be putting it elsewhere. Otherwise, bad things happen. Um, okay. So this one's a bit more of a personal one. Uh, so the government readily recognises that army personnel suffer trauma and happily gives out compensation for the expenses these personnel suffer, as I believe they should. One of my mates only did 5 years, 2 tours in the army, and got paid out for trauma which will last him a lifetime, which is nowhere near, knowing the circumstances, as bad as police officers suffer, which I myself have suffered as a result of the job. It's a tough one, that isn't it? Because when somebody says, uh, I don't know, you don't want to, you don't want people to think that people in the army don't deal with stuff. They obviously do. They deal with war zones, getting shot at sometimes and seeing absolutely horrendous things to happen people what happened to people very close to them. But that's recognized, and PTSD in the army is recognized very, very strongly. But when it comes to not just the police, but ambulance, the frontline emergency services, fire department as well, um, it's almost like yeah, all right. I wonder if it's like a money thing. I wonder if it's because with the amount of police officers that would potentially get compensation for the trauma what they suffer as a result of the job, that the government actually couldn't afford to pay out properly. So they kind of just go, well, we're just going to talk about that. We just ignore it. And then they wonder why so many officers leave or hurt themselves or end their life or self medicate. Um, and, ambulance and fire service as well. So, yeah, it's a shit one that I think. I honestly just think it's a money thing. Because say if you have, I don't know, 100 soldiers a year, say if they go on tour and there's a war and soldiers get deployed. Um, because as well, we're not always in a war, like we're not always overseas fighting. It does obviously happen. And when it does happen, there's a lot of soldiers go there, there's a lot of soldiers get hurt, injured, or witness things which they get very complex PTSD over or just PTSD. But officers, there's a lot of them, and all the time they're exposed to more and more difficult things. So I think that might be part of the reason. I do think it's money. Certainly, if it's like a life changing amount of money, or what will last him the rest of his life. So you call it, I don't know, call it £500,000, for example. I've no idea, but call it £500,000. And you're saying that it wasn't as bad as what officers face. The amount of money the government would have to pay out, say if there's 14,000 officers, call it, I don't know, pulling figures out my arse here, 10,000 officers front line, 50% of them have acute trauma, 5,000 times 500,000. It's a lot of fucking money, isn't it? And yeah, I just don't think the government can or want to pay it. And then if you apply that to other public services, other emergency services, I do just think it's a money thing. A money thing and an appreciation thing. I think we see a war zone, we imagine the most horrendous things possible happening, as they do. But I mean, yeah, I've seen some pretty nasty fucking things, like I said at the start, which will stick with me forever. I know other officers who have been to jobs or have told me about things what they've dealt with, and it'll stick with them for the rest of their lives too. And yeah, it is what it is, unfortunately. But it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. And I'm not diminishing it. Both are bad. Both are bad, and both should be compensated. But one is, I believe, treated much more seriously than others. And then there's the cynical part of me which says it's probably to do with finances and money. Okay. Da-da-ba. So here's one. Hi Jay, just wanted to reach out and say something to at least somebody. Earlier on this Earlier on this, I was assaulted on duty while pursuing a male who was wanted for assaulting me 2 months before. I sustained a head injury, and during my recovery, I got really down and stressed. I haven't been able to be, I haven't been able to be the same person I was before, and colleagues now see me as a case instead of a competent colleague. Yeah, you're a victim of an assault, so it's like I understand that. They got a victim contact you, and they got to send you updates and emails. It's like, oh, I've got to email. I don't know this person's name, but I've got to send fucking Jane Doe an email or John Doe. Supervisors say they're supportive, but to be honest, I no longer know who to turn to. I've had instances where I've overstepped boundaries in terms of disclosing how I'm feeling, and I've been told to solely speak to supervisors instead. I'm on a waiting list to be assessed for autism. This whole year has been shit for me, and I've had fleeting thoughts of suicide and self harm. I've reached out for support already, and I'll be booking an appointment with GP soon. Well, I really hope that you do get the support what you want. Um, like I said, I mean, I've got the community, what I'm building. There'll be support in there, there'll be help and advice in there. But yeah, there's plenty of places you can reach out to. There's obviously there's the crisis line, there's Samaritans, there's all them lot, but there's also like police care. There's police care. There's other ones as well. I'll try and find some and stick them in the description. But you shouldn't be pushed away. Try to get an occupational health referral if you can. Try to speak to your GP. But of course, the waiting list can be really long. You've just got to try and support yourself as best you can in the time being. This is a shit part of an otherwise very happy, long, healthy life. Like this is just a bad time you're going through. It's a bad chapter. It will end, but it's not going to be easy. You have to look after yourself. You have to look after your mental health. You have to get your sleep right. You have to try and eat well. Mental health is something which we can neglect, certainly when it comes to shift work and the work what we do. So we have, like I said before, we have to be more. Um, we have to acknowledge the trauma and the instance and the issues what we were going to deal with, and we can't just let it go by the wayside. Otherwise, like you've seen, it just compound and build up. So the main thing is it's not your fault. It's not your fault. You've been a victim of crime. It's awful, and you said you're potentially getting autism, diagnosis of autism. So there's processing issues there, like emotional processing issues potentially. Um, yeah, yeah. One thing I would say is, like I said before, journal, write down how you're feeling, keep a diary of how you're feeling, and yeah, just see what support you can get. But I absolutely wish you the very very best with it, and I do hope you're okay. All our team was refused any annual leave for months at one point because too many people were off or on secondments. Last time I checked, that's not my problem. I completely agree. And the difficulty with this is that if so many people are off sick due to burnout and due to mental health reasons, then that's only going to put more work on the people who are still working, meaning that they're more at risk of burnout, which means they're more at risk of going off sick, which means, and so on. Uh, our team was refused any annual leave, like an entire shift. It's shit. It's shit. It happens. It shouldn't happen. And it isn't your problem. It isn't your problem. But unfortunately, like it's the powers that be that say you can have the time off. I think is there a rule that if you request leave 3 times or 4 times, it has to be approved on like the fourth one. I don't know whether that's still a thing or whether it's just like maybe it's just a policy in my old force or whether it's actually in the police regulations. Try and speak to your Fed. Try and speak to somebody about that. I wish I could give you some better advice. Honestly, is there a way that you can change units? Could you go fucking sick for a bit? But then, that's the whole thing of you then burdening your other colleagues as well. But it's not, but that's not your fault. Like, one of the reasons why I had a panic attack and burnt out was because I knew I needed to go off sick because of how stressed I was getting, and I kept ignoring it. And one thing I kept on saying was, "No, it's not fair on my colleagues. It's not fair on my victims. It's not fair on on my case and my workload and everything else." And well, you know what? My block was fine. They managed fine. And when I left, they're fine. And when I left, my victims got given to somebody else, my caseload got given to somebody else. Like, it's fine. You got to look after number one sometimes, mate. You got to look after yourself. Um, okay, so there's one here. I won't read it all, but it basically said that a police officer was arrested 5 months off the back of an allegation, a domestic assault allegation. Bail extended, everything else. The case was eventually completely dropped because it was an absolute pile of shit. And this is just again stat chasing. How what right, what legality, what necessity is there to arrest somebody 5 months after the event? Even just members of the public, I've dealt with cases like that, and they're like, why the fuck has this person been locked up? I've even had a case where it was like 8 months old, and I wrote all over the log saying not suitable for arrest. I'll deal with it slow time. And it's an inspector, supervisors looked at it and gone, oh, we can get a tick in the box there, and they've gone and locked them up. Makes their stats look better, but there's a fucking human being. There's a human being. It really pisses me off. There's a human being at the end of this. You can't bend the fucking rules. You can't bend it to make the force look better, to make sure you get a promotion further down the line, when there's a fucking human being at the end of it. Like, I've been through it. It's awful. Getting arrested is fucking horrible. It's a horrible, horrible experience. And it should only happen if if it's required, if it's necessary to take away that person's freedom, not some bullshit allegation 5 months later. Because we're all at fucking risk of it then, aren't we? Somebody makes an allegation about you for whatever reason. They don't need to investigate it because they're not bothered about getting a charge, or they're not bothered about it going to court and getting convicted. They just want that tick in the box there and then. Oh, well, this person's now classed as wanted. Well, we need to lock them up. They're a DA perpetrator. What if they're not? What if the fucking other party's lying? What if it's for multiple reasons? What if they were actually the abusive party and they're now lying to try and get one over the other person? It needs to be nuanced. It's not black and white, and it fucking annoys me. Okay, sorry about that. Hello, just saw your video. Oh, that's the same one. Sorry. Oh, yeah, I remember this one. A certain police force began issuing all student officers a purple welfare card that they could keep in their pockets. This card was presented by the student officer to the custody sergeant when they felt intimidated or anxious when booking a prisoner in. That should be an automatic fucking kick out. That, like, what? Really? You feel anxious? This is not the job for you, mate. Like, you are going to deal with very, very violent people who want to hurt you. People who will say the most disgusting things in the world to you, most disgusting things imaginable. And if they want to hurt you, like, if they want to fucking break your neck, they want to seriously hurt you. Uh, you're the police. You're the person who's there to stop that from happening. And if you can't control your own emotions, not saying not saying you can't feel a bit nervous or a bit anxious when you're dealing with someone who's like off the rocker and you're scared, like, it's gonna kick off, but you can't present. What does that card mean? Oh, uh, excuse me, I don't have to do this, or I feel anxious now, so I don't, fuck off and get out. Like, fucking God, I'm on one today. I've not even had any coffee either. I'm just on H2O. That's God. Why did I pick these ones? I picked these ones thinking to be a bit funny and a bit. I'm just getting annoyed. I'm just getting annoyed. I'm really sorry if I'm shouting down the microphone at you. I really am. So what's this one? Ah, yes, I remember this one. This is fucking funny. This one. Went to a job where there was a naked man stealing ducks from the local pond. Now, when you hear that, you're thinking bollocks. That's not what's happening. Had to ask a member of the public if they'd seen him. Turns out there was a naked man stealing ducks from a pond. Turns out he was rescuing the duck after being attacked by a fox, all while losing his trousers. So what I imagine happens there is the duck was being attacked by the fox, and then somehow he's lost his pants. Now I want to know, I want to know why the fuck he lost his pants. I reckon he was up to no good and he's been telling porcupines, because I guarantee the fox weren't there when the cops turned up. Guarantee that. There's probably just a very traumatized looking duck. I don't know, maybe the guy's not had a bird in a while. Stop it. You can't make jokes like that. That's not okay. So I remember this next one. I remember asking, I put on my Instagram about cake finds. There's a couple of like cake finds coming up. And if you do have any cake finds, please message me. Please email in. either message me on Instagram or send me an email, thejobpod25@gmail.com. Dead good. Love getting these sorts of things through. So one was I had a lad who incurred a cake fine when he left his warrant card in Spain. Firstly, why would you take your warrant card to Spain? I mean, I never used to even like taking it to the shop. You know, if I was walking around in Tesco or something, I had my warrant card on, I'd be like, fuck now, like, oh, that don't fall out. Like, why would you take it? You've no power in Spain. You're technically not a bobby in Spain. You've no power. You're a you're a copper. Obviously, police Scotland and England and Wales and potentially Northern Ireland, but I'm not sure. But either way, it's like your jurisdiction, isn't it? It's it's where you can police, it's where you can enforce the law. Why the fuck you taking it to Spain, pal? That's not just cake fines. That's I'd say cake fines until you got a new warrant card. That's cake fines every single day until you got a new one because that is fucking idiotic. But God, do I love it? God, I love these stories. Lad on firearms on day one brought in buns, but they were shit, so got fined and were told to bring in Krispy Kremes. Day two, spent £40 on donuts, but called the sergeant's mates, so got fined again. Day three, bought another £40 of donuts in, and because he'd had three fines in 3 days, got fined again for a shit first impression. Poor bastard spent almost £150 on fines before he'd finished his set of shifts. That's funny. That's a block going. Go on, can we get another one? Go on, can we get another one? And the poor lad obviously just trying to make a good impression. It's some might say that's bullying, some would say it's character building and team building. But hey, I think the people who say it's bullying would probably be the ones who would have the purple card in custody. But again, you can't say that. Well, I can. Professional standards can't fucking come after me, can they? I bet they try. Jay Dartmoor has been arrested for saying offensive things on podcast. Oh shit! Not again. We went to a sudden death. So I should probably should laugh at this. Compose. Here we go. We went to a sudden death where he was an old boy, probably 80 to 90 years old, lived on his own but had an adult son. Anyway, he was dead in bed. How the hell did you wake up dead? Name the movie. Name the movie. Anyway, he was dead in bed and had unfortunately died on the job. Oh, for fuck's sake. He had unfortunately died on the job with his blow up doll. Had to break the news to his son that his dad had died, but his stepmom was still full of life. Why do I do this podcast? Why do I put myself through it? Why do I put myself through it? Okay. We're going to finish on this one, all right? We're going to finish on this one. This one's fucking funny. Brace yourselves. Brace yourselves. House search on a Section 18. Student thought he'd found a few kilos of cocaine under the bed in a brown hidden box. He went to start bagging it up before I stopped him. It wasn't a bag of cocaine, but instead, it was the ashes of the suspect's deceased father. I'm not laughing. Oh, lost for words with that one. I remember being lost for words the first time I read it, and then I forgot about it. Sorry again, I read it again. And I, for the second time, I'm also lost for words. God, what do you even do? What do you even say to that? Do you put it back? Do you think, well, I'm halfway through now? Do you go like, I've only bagged half of him up, and what half? What half was it? Was it top half or bottom half? Was it an arm and a testicle? Stop it! Stop it! You can't say things like that. Oh, but we do. Oh, but we do. Oh, right. Have a fucking great new year, everyone. Thank you so much for everything what you do. You guys are all